Homage to my teacher, Lokaswami Namas. Sadhu, sadhu. So everybody is aware of what is going on in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
Lots of devastation, hundreds of thousands of people have lost all the material things, mm, but they survived. Some of them survived. Unfortunately, many people, I think more than 500 people lost their lives, the precious human lives. And as Buddha has explained to us about the impermanence of life, impermanence of everything, impermanence of all the conditioned things, natural disasters, accidents, um, all these. This is part of this existence. That is why Buddha wanted to find a permanent solution called Nibbana, because Buddha already saw everything, all the suffering that not only human beings but all beings are going through. That's why Buddha had this great compassion to find a way out, to give lasting peace, lasting happiness for people. Not only in Sri Lanka, it's happening everywhere. Suffering is everywhere. This time in Sri Lanka, next time in another country, another place on earth. Unbearable pain. Some parents lost their children, some children lost their parents, still buried under the mud due to landslides. How many times we face this? Buddha saw exactly, Buddha knew exactly the stream of tears we have shed. Each individual has shed in this long journey of samsara due to the death of the parents, death of the mother, death of the father, death of the brother, death of the sister, death of the children, due to the separation from loved ones. The stream of tears is greater than the waters of the four great oceans. Nobody else saw that truth. In the midst of all these unfortunate things, we are so blessed with one thing. Uh, if there was not the Buddha's appearance in this world, and if the Buddha's teachings were not available to us, then we can say everything we have is incomplete, because we cannot use anything available to find a way out. At that time, we can say we are truly unfortunate. And how many times we have passed those unfortunate occasions in this long journey of samsara. We were facing the same thing again and again, but we didn't have a path to end end the suffering. In this life, in the midst of all these miseries, tragedies, unfortunate happenings, we are blessed with one thing that was discovered by the Buddha, the way out. the Noble Eightfold Path that can end everything, that can end entire mass of suffering, that can end so-called endless cycle of rebirth. Aren't we blessed? And these teachings were shared with us, offered to us by great Kalyanamitas. The greatest Kalyanamitta in this world is the enlightened one. And the other great Kalyanamitas are the great Arahants, monks and nuns who lived in the past, in the Buddha's time, and even after the passing away of the Buddha, and all the other disciples of the Buddha who preserved these teachings and offered to the future generations. So that is the difference. Otherwise, this world is always same. Look at the history, read the history, watch videos, documentaries about history. What happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Look what happened. Same cycle, same cycle. Natural disasters hit people, and then wars break out. People get sick, people age, people fight for material things, people fight for lands, and they are led by craving, clinging, attachment, hatred, arrogance, ego, and everybody becomes a part of the same ground, same earth. Buddha said very clearly, when you die, you leave your skeleton behind in every human life. If there was somebody to collect them, and if the collection was not destroyed, you can see a huge pile of skeletons of one individual as big as that huge mountain Vapor. See, everybody who fight for the land, fight for the countries, fight for the properties, everybody is buried under the same ground. Buddha said, we have done this one thing in this long journey of samsara, just adding some dirt to this charnel ground, this cemetery called earth. Who would realize this? So I wanted to share some videos about Sri Lanka. Maybe some of you already have uh, received information, but both good side and bad side. Okay, bad side is about the pain, about the loss people are going through. The good side is that the generosity, the compassion, the unity, the kindness that is shared everywhere to help people without any limitations, any boundaries, any restrictions, everybody helping each other. Practicing this great quality of compassion, highly appreciated by all Buddhas, giving whatever they have, sharing whatever they have with others. And everybody, like many people in so many countries, doing fundraising, charitable acts to help people, not only like for the people in Sri Lanka, but this Ditwa hurricane hit other islands as well, like Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and also these things happen somewhere, right? Every day, somewhere. So people practice generosity, giving and sharing kindness everywhere. We can see there are kind people, generous people. So we are grateful and we rejoice in the great karma all those generous people make. And we care for charity launched this fundraising. Can you see?
Yes,
Yes.
Bante, there's also audio.
Yes, so they are preparing food for the displaced, cooking days and night because there is no food, no water, no electricity. Many houses were completely flooded, and people were brought to safe areas like camps. Now we have more than 70 branch monasteries in Sri Lanka under my teacher. So all the monasteries are like this these days. People are bringing food items, cooking, and then distribute the meal parcels to those people. And we care for charity, did the fundraising and keep sending donations to the cook food and also for to purchase food items and to donate dry food bags and other necessary items. Yeah, so we rejoice in the generosity of all the donors. We share all the merit we collected with our teacher Lokaswami Nuhanse and Vijitavansa Bhante with Tavatis Yatra team, charity team in our Malabe Mahamena Buddhist Monastery. All the volunteers, donors, we collected powerful merit. We share all the merit with our teacher Lokaswami Nuhanse. Sadhu, sadhu. We share all the merit with all the monks and nuns in this world. Sadhu, sadhu. We share all the merit with all those people who are affected by the flooding and landslides. May all of them have peace and security, and may all beings enjoy good health, long life, happiness, and peace. And may all the donors and volunteers enjoy good health, long life, happiness, and peace. May all of them have the opportunity to follow the Noble Eightfold Path and find a lasting solution for to end this suffering. Sad. So now, first we are going to read the words of very wise human beings who lived before us, probably about 2000 years ago. The words of wise beings, great arhants, words are very important. The enlightened one words are very important to understand the truth of this life and to follow the path leading to the end of suffering. Okay, so let's read together and try to get the message that those Arahants wanted to share with the world. And they are like very extraordinary type of human beings because they lived like us before, and they were also enjoying sense pleasures, um, always thinking about material things. And before they became monks, they were greedy, and yeah, they had all these ordinary, like negative qualities in their mind. But after they left the home life, became monks and nuns under the guidance of the enlightened one, the most compassionate one. They followed the Noble Eightfold Path. They practiced virtue. They practiced concentration, meditation, and they developed wisdom. And they were able to free their mind from all defilements, all negative qualities, and only positive qualities, only wholesome qualities remained in their lives, and they developed those wholesome qualities to the max and achieve liberation. As a result, they realized the Four Noble Truths. They ended this long journey of cycle of rebirth. So right now we are talking about the suffering of the world, suffering of the life. And now we are going to listen to these words of those extraordinary beings who already ended suffering forever, right? Very important. Even to hear these words of those kind of extraordinary beings. Okay. Um, we are going to read together. Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato
Ato
arahato
arahato samma
sambuddhassa.
sambuddhassa.
Namo
Namo
tassa
tassa
bhagavato
bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa
Bhagavato
bhagavato
arahato
arahato
samma sambuddhassa.
sambuddhassa. Okay, so these verses of Arahant Raptipala Thero. Please read
See
with
the
me.
true nature of this body, which is created by putting together tendons and bones. Even though it seems to be like a beautiful painted puppet, foolish people delight in and appreciate this body. This body is subject to diseases and doesn't have any permanent stability. One should see the true nature of this body, even though it is decorated with jewels and ornaments. The skeleton wrapped up in skin is made attractive by its clothes. The feet are painted with colors, and the mouth produces fragrances having chewed mint. These things are enough to trick a fool, but do nothing for one who seeks Nibbana. The hair is braided stylishly, and the eyes are painted with makeup. These things are enough to trick a fool, but do nothing for one who seeks Nibbana. This filthy body is kept as a nicely decorated pot. This is enough to trick a fool, but does nothing for one who seeks Nibbana. The deer hunter sets out the traps, but the deer did not get caught by the trap. While the deer trapper was crying, having eaten the bait, we left quickly. The hunter's trap was smashed, but the deer didn't get caught. While the deer trapper was crying, having eaten the bait, we left quickly. I have seen the wealthy people in this world. When they obtain wealth, they become deluded. They don't give it away to anybody. Having gathered wealth greedily, they desire more and more sensual pleasures. A king who has conquered all the land on the shore and rules over the ocean-bound world is still unsatisfied. He hungers to rule over a country even beyond the ocean. That king and many other people die with craving. They give up their life unsatisfied. There is no satisfaction in this world from sensual pleasures. When someone dies, the relatives with messy hair mourn over them. They say, "Oh, may our relative become immortal." Then they carry the dead body out, wrap it in a cloth, place it on a pile of wood, and burn it. Leaving his entire wealth wrapped in a single cloth and poked by spears, he burns. When he dies, neither his relatives nor his friends can protect him. Has take his wealth. He went on his journey after death according to his actions, but his wealth does not follow him, nor does his wife, children, or country. One does not obtain long life by wealth, nor does one escape from old age by riches. That is why wise sages say that this life is short, non-eternal, and subject to change. The rich and the poor both feel the contact of senses through objects. The wise and the fool both feel the contact of senses through objects. But the fool, due to his lack of wisdom, suffers from that contact and sleeps uncomfortably. The wise sage is not shaken by any contact. Therefore, it's very clear that wisdom is better than wealth. It is through this very wisdom one can end suffering. But the beings who have clung to this existence commit evil deeds due to that delusion. After death, they again fall into samsara, suffering. They come again into Those who approve of others' misdeeds also fall into the same tragedy. A thief who is caught suffers because of his own evil deed. In the same way, beings suffer in the next world because of their own evil deeds. Dear King, it is true that these sensual pleasures are sweet, delightful, and attractive, but they disturb the mind by their various forms. Having understood this danger of sensual pleasures, I became a monk. Just as the fruits on a tree will fall, so everyone, young or old, will die. Dear King, having seen this suffering, I became a monk. Certainly, this monk life is better. I became a monk out of faith. I entered the path of the Buddha with confidence. My monk life is not without result. I eat my alms free from debt. I understood sensual pleasures to be like a huge blazing fire. I understood all valuables, such as gold and silver, to be like weapons. I understood suffering from entry into the womb and the great fearfulness of hells. I realized its danger. I was completely shocked. Previously, I was beaten by the arrows of defilements, but now, having removed completely all defilements, I have become an enlightened one. The great teacher's instruction has been respectfully followed by me. The Buddha's path has been fully followed by me. I lowered the heavy load of defilements. I rooted out the fetter of existence. I became a monk with the wish to achieve one goal. That I have achieved. I have cut all fetters. I attained enlightenment. These verses were said by Arhan Rattapala.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Did you see like how much wisdom is given to the world by one enlightened monk? Just by one Arahant hero. So much wisdom in those words, right? And it's all about the truth. Because they were contemplating the truth of this life, following the instructions of the Buddha, they were able to end this suffering. So please try to read more words from those great arahants. You can read more verses of those great arahants by going to suttafriends.org under Theragatha, verses of enlightened monks, and also Therigatha, verses of enlightened nuns. Okay, so this sutta we're going to discuss today is from the Anguttara Nikaya Numerical Discourses of the Buddha, from the book of the Eights. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened Buddha. Homage to my teacher, Swami Namaste. Okay, so when we learn this sutta, we can learn about about the true nature of this world, and also how to understand and how to contemplate the true nature of this world. Also, we are going to learn from the words of the Buddha the disadvantage of not getting closer to the truth, not contemplating things as they really are, the disadvantage, and also the advantage of getting closer to the truth, understanding things as they really are, and how to develop wisdom in that respect. So again, these discourses will help us immensely to develop wisdom. Wisdom panya. Panya brings true happiness to this life. Okay? Dutiyalokadhamma sutta and Lokadhamma sutta. This is the second sutta. That is why it is called Dutiyalokadhamma sutta.
Mendicants, the eight worldly conditions revolve around the world, and the world revolves around the eight worldly conditions. What eight? Gain and loss, fame and disgrace, blame and praise, pleasure and pain. These eight worldly conditions revolve around the world, and the world revolves around these eight worldly conditions.
Okay, so Buddha explains about eight things. In Pali, they are called Dhamma, right? So Buddha explains about Attime Bhikkhave Lokadhamma, Lokang Anuparivattanti, Lokocha Dhamme Anuparivattati, right? So these eight things are always in this world, right? And they come to beings in different forms, always changing in different types of forms. And the lives of beings, world means these lives of all beings, also revolves around these eight worldly conditions. They have to live in the midst of these changing worldly conditions, that explains. And what are these eight worldly conditions? Labhocha, labhocha, alabhocha. Gain and loss. Two things. Two things there, right? Yasocha, ayasocha. Fame and disgrace. Nindacha. So there are four things, right? Nindacha, prasansacha. Blame and praise, right? Or insults and praise. Sukhancha, dukkhancha. Pleasure and pain. Happiness and pain. Happiness and suffering. These eight worldly conditions are always in the world, and also they come to these beings who live in this world. So Buddha is going to explain about amazing Dhamma about these things and how we should develop wisdom, how we should understand the wrong path, and how we should develop the right path.
An unlearned ordinary person encounters gain and loss, fame and disgrace, blame and praise, and pleasure and pain. And so does a learned noble disciple. What then is the difference between a learned noble disciple and an ordinary unlearned person?
Okay, here Buddha asks the monks a question. Here Buddha explains about two types of people in this world, right? About two categories of people. What is the first category? Asutavato. Asutavato Putojanas. This is the first category of people. Unlearned ordinary person. Putojana person. So in other discourses, Buddha explains how to recognize such a person and why is that person called an unlearned ordinary person. So according to the realization of the Buddha, an ordinary person, a putojana, means somebody, of course, very unfortunate person, and he has not seen the path to way out. He has not come across that path. He has not practiced that path. He has not learned that path. He is not skilled in that path. And he doesn't know about danger of this sansara, this endless journey, this existence, the true nature of existence. He is completely carried away by these streams of pleasures, worldly pleasures, craving, attachment, and he has not gone for refuge, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. He doesn't have the fortune to associate with Kalyanamitas, the friends, spiritual friends. He doesn't have the fortune to keep precepts, follow precepts. He doesn't have fortune to practice meditation and follow the Buddha's path. So he doesn't have any idea about Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, so that is the ordinary person as described by the Buddha. But we should not forget that these ordinary people, the Puthujjana people, if they come across the associate, the Kalyanamitta spiritual friends, Dhamma friends, if they come across the teachings of an enlightened one, they become noble disciples. If they contemplate on the Dhamma honestly, if they practice wise consideration, if they develop their faith towards these teachings, they have the opportunity, the fortune to become a noble, learned, noble disciple. So Buddha explains Sutavato Arya Savakasa. Sutava Arya Savako. Arya Savaka means the noble disciple of the Buddha, a very fortunate person, a very fortunate being. Right? So this noble disciple, maybe for the first time in this long journey of samsara, has come across the teachings of an enlightened one. He has come to the association of spiritual friends, and he has started studying the teachings of an enlightened one. He has understood the danger of this repeated journey, this cycle of rebirth, and he has realized the, the power of the Noble Eightfold Path, the power it has to end this suffering. So he wholeheartedly has gone for refuge, the triple gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, and He's working very hard to keep precepts, follow precepts, and practice mindfulness, meditation, and he's trying to understand the Four Noble Truths. That is his main goal in his life, right? So big difference, right? Big difference. Even though he is still caught up with ordinary things in the world, the worldly pleasures, this goal, this noble goal is always in his mind. Um, the Dhamma reminds him about the true nature of this life, the impermanence, the non-self nature, the fact that everything is temporary, the lasting happiness is only found in the spiritual path, in the attainment of the stages of enlightenment. It's a very big difference. And also because of this, achieving this goal of purity, he, he knows that he has to achieve the purification of mind. With that reminder, um, he tries to practice wholesome qualities in his life, such as patience, loving kindness, generosity, volunteering, giving and sharing, mindfulness, concentration, wisdom. It's a big transformation in the life of a noble disciple. A monk can be a noble disciple, a nun can be a noble disciple, a man can be a noble disciple, a woman can be a noble disciple, a human being can be a noble disciple, a heavenly being can be a noble disciple. Okay. So the question is, Buddha asks, what is the difference between a learned noble disciple and an ordinary unlearned person when comes to the um, eight worldly conditions and how they are going to react to those eight worldly conditions, how they are going to deal with them. That is the question, right? And then those monks, they replied to the Buddha.
Our teachings are rooted in the Buddha. He is our guide and our refuge. Sir, may the Buddha himself please clarify the meaning of this. The mendicants will listen and remember it. Well then, mendicants, listen and apply your mind well. I will speak. Yes, sir, they replied. The Buddha said this, mendicants, an unlearned ordinary person encounters gain. They don't reflect. I've encountered this gain. It's impermanent, suffering, and perishable. They don't truly understand it. They encounter loss, fame, disgrace, blame, praise, pleasure, pain. They don't reflect. I've encountered this pain. It's impermanent, suffering, and perishable. They don't truly understand it. So gain and loss, fame and disgrace, blame and praise, and pleasure and pain occupy their mind. They favor gain and oppose loss. They favor fame and oppose disgrace. They favor praise and oppose blame. They favor pleasure and oppose pain. Being so full of favoring and opposing, they're not freed from rebirth, old age, and death, from sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress. They're not freed from suffering, I say.
See that? The wisdom of the Buddha? Buddha explained before answering that, the monks said, Bhagava Mulaka no Bhante. Bhagavan Mulaka no Bhante Dhamma, Bhagavan Nittika, Bhagavan Patisarana. Oh, Blessed One, our teachings are rooted in the Blessed One. The Blessed One is our guide and our refuge. Right? That's how faithful disciples talk. They know that Buddha is the discoverer of the truth, discoverer of the Dhamma, discoverer of the path, the skilled the skilled one of this path. So they always knew the extraordinary wisdom of the Buddha. They they were so grateful for that, and they highly respected that. So they said, Bhante, may the Blessed One himself please clarify the meaning of this. The monks and all these other disciples will listen and remember it. And then out of great compassion, Buddha explained the teaching. This is the teaching. This is the Dhamma that would liberate beings from suffering. You know, all the other ordinary teachings, we learn those things for a different purpose, right? We learn ordinary things to learn about this world, to learn about worldly things, to find a job, right? When we are angry, we cannot use those teachings to remove or abandon anger. When we are greedy, we cannot use those ordinary teachings to remove greed from our mind. When we are ignorant, deluded, we cannot use those teachings to remove delusion from our mind. Basically, we cannot use those teachings to remove any defilements from our mind. They have a different purpose. For to achieve that purpose, that's okay to learn. We have to learn those ordinary things, right? Especially like lay people, we have to learn those things. But you have to understand there is something else that you should learn, that everybody should learn in order to purify this mind, in order to cleanse this mind, in order to achieve liberation from all suffering. Because if there are those defilements in the mind, if there is delusion in the mind, if there is lack of wisdom in the mind, then suffering is there. So, finding the way out of suffering, we have to learn something else. But unfortunately, those teachings are not available all the time in this world. These teachings will be available for a very short time. And not every being or not many beings are capable enough to realize these teachings, truth. That is why after a Buddha appears into this world after a long time, after eons and eons sometimes. So these teachings are not going to be available all the time. You can see how rare these opportunities. Okay, so that those monks lived at that time, lived with the Buddha, knew this the wisdom of the Buddha very well, and they they were so grateful, they were so faithful, and they invited the Buddha to explain the meaning of that, the difference between ordinary Putujana person and a noble disciple, and how they face these ups and downs of the world. One category is not going to escape from suffering because of the way they use their lack of wisdom when these ups and downs come to their life. And the next category of people are going to escape from suffering because of the way they are going to use wisdom. So in this case, asutavato putujana upajjati labho. When an unlearned ordinary person encounters gain, you know, he gets lots of money, he becomes rich, he gets lots of properties, lots of riches, right? He's so happy, he's excited, overjoyed, and he does not use his wisdom to reflect the truth of all these material things. What is the truth? These things are impermanent. If I have craving for this, if I am attached to these things, I have to suffer a lot because these are temporary things and they will leave me one day. Leave me for so many different reasons, due to natural disasters, due to so many other reasons. They will leave me and I will have to leave them. They don't reflect on them. And they are perishable. They are subject to change. Soko anicco, dukkho, viparinamadhammo. They become otherwise. You know, we think our properties will stay the same for many, many years. We have this delusion, distorted perception in our mind. Things will stay the same. People will stay the same, but they are viparinamadhammo. They are subject to become otherwise. They will change. And these unlearned ordinary people, yatha bhutang nappajanati, they don't understand the truth. They don't reflect on the truth when they encounter, when they experience gain, wealth in their life. And also, sometimes loss come to their lives. They lose things, right? They lose their job, they lose their properties, wealth, something happens, maybe due to flooding, landslides, earthquakes, due to wars, right? Due to tsunami. There are so many reasons, and they take our wealth away, our properties away. And when these things happens, this ordinary person does not reflect on the truth that this is also impermanent, suffering, subject to change. And they think, why this happened to me? Why am I so unfortunate? They think like it has happened only to them. They don't reflect on the universal truth of all conditioned things. In the same way, sometimes they become very prosperous, very successful, great success come to their life, and they have lots of friends to help, lots of fame, they are famous, very popular. That time they don't think that this is impermanent, subject to change. This will go away. This fame will go away. They don't think. You can understand how people become so evil when they are famous, when they are powerful, when they are rich. It's because they don't think, they don't reflect on this truth, this very truth that these things will go away. This will not last long. If they had thought about this truth, they wouldn't have suffered like that today. And then sometimes, so that is alabho, loss. Yaso means fame. And then ayaso means disgrace. Sometimes they lose everything. They don't have friends to help them. Nobody cares them. But still they should think that this is also impermanent. But they don't think about that truth. And instead they get depressed and they live very stressful life thinking why this happened to me, why this happened to me. They don't think that this will go away, this is also impermanent, this is the nature of conditioned things. They don't contemplate like that. And then sometimes praise come, everybody, the whole world praises them, they are so happy, and they become conceited. They think that everybody is with them now, but unfortunately things don't last long. Praises will go away, right? So when praises go away, when they receive bad comments on social media, negative comments, when people don't appreciate them, or family members, relatives, husband, wife, when they don't appreciate them, they cannot bear that pain because they don't contemplate on the impermanent nature of all conditioned things. And also pleasure and pain, happiness and suffering come to their life. They don't reflect, I have encountered this pain, it is impermanent suffering and subject to change. Because of that, what happened? Tassa labhopi chittang paryadaya tittati alabhopi chittang paryadaya tittati. When wise disciples contemplate on the truth of impermanence, their minds are not troubled by those things anymore. But in this case, the opposite happens. The gain, loss, fame, and disgrace, blame, praise, pleasure, pain occupy their mind. Those things rapidly enter their mind and they start governing them, governing this person. That is a very unfortunate thing. And Buddha explains beings are so full and they are too attached to gain, fame, praise, pleasure, the ups of life, the good side, and they are opposed to loss, disgrace, blame, and pain, the downs of life. So their life is stuck in these two sides, two extremes, and they are stuck in that. All these ups and downs are enveloped in their life, and they are not freed from suffering. Na parimucchati dukkasmati vadami. And now you can see here in this first part of the discourse, Buddha explains about the origin of suffering, the cause of suffering, and one of the reasons why we continue this journey, right? Because Buddha clearly explains, Evang anurodha virodha samapanno na parimucchati jatiya jaraya maranena sokehi paridevehi dukkehi domanassehi upayasehi. As a result of being so full of favoring and opposing, they are not freed from rebirth, old age, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress. See how Buddha explained about the cause of suffering very clearly. Now Buddha is going to explain about the way out. Just by understanding the contemplating the true nature of ups and downs. Ups and downs come to everybody, but in this case, one person look at them without wisdom and the other person looks at them with wisdom. See the difference. And they are getting closer to the truth and also to the ending of suffering.
A learned noble disciple encounters gain. They reflect, I've encountered this gain. It's impermanent, suffering, and perishable. They truly understand it. They encounter loss, fame, disgrace, blame, praise, pleasure, pain. They reflect, I've encountered this pain. It's impermanent, suffering, and perishable. They truly understand it. So gain and loss, fame and disgrace, blame and praise, and pleasure and pain don't occupy their mind. They don't favor gain or oppose loss. They don't favor fame or oppose disgrace. They don't favor praise or oppose blame. They don't favor pleasure or oppose pain. Having given up favoring and opposing, they are freed from rebirth, old age, and death, from sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress. They are freed from suffering, I say. This is the difference between a learned noble disciple and an unlearned ordinary person.
Oh, okay, see again the great wisdom of the Buddha, right? Now, when these ups and downs, the eight worldly conditions come to a wise person, a learned, noble disciple, Arya Savaka, Sutavato Arya Savaka is always a wise person, always a wise person. That wisdom was gained through the teachings of the Buddha, through the contemplation of those teachings, right? So then these things, same things come to this person's life. This person becomes very rich, very wealthy, person gains lots of properties, lots of vehicles, housing, everything, right? while experiencing, while enjoying them, this person develops wisdom, right? So he's still using them, but he's not intoxicated with them. He's not infatuated with them because Buddha has given wisdom to this person, right? So with that wisdom, how does he think? He thinks, you know, these things are conditioned things. This is the natural law of the world. These things are impermanent. Anicco, dukkha, they are bound up with suffering. Everybody who are attached to these conditioned things will end up in suffering. And they are subject to change. So I should not get attached to these things. These things will go away. I should use these things, the gain, the fame, the praise, the pleasure, the happiness, these ups of the life only for the good of others, for the well-being, for the happiness. I should be generous. I should be kind. I should be patient. I should share whatever I have with others. Such a beautiful life, a life with lots of good qualities, is the result of this contemplation of the truth of life. And not only about ups in in life, same worldly conditions. Some people think if we go for refuge triple gem, if we become a noble disciple of the Buddha, if we give dana, if we collect merit, if we keep precepts, if we do chanting, if we meditate, if we follow this path, we are very fortunate that only good should happen to us. That's again lack of wisdom. Buddha very clearly mentions that these 8 worldly conditions will come to everybody's life, to humans' life, to devas' lives, to all beings' lives, to ordinary people's life, to noble disciples' lives, to the Buddha's life, to the Arahant's life, right? If these 8 worldly conditions come to their lives, let alone come into our lives, right? So when when downs of life come to their life, when people blame them, insult them, and when they lose things in their life, when pain come to their life, when they get sick, and they have to live a poor life, but still they are not crushed, troubled by those downs of life because they are they are contemplating in line with the teachings of the Buddha, understanding these downs of life also impermanent, suffering, and subject to change. So they don't get depressed, they don't live a stressful life, they understand ups and downs of life as they really are, and they know how they should proceed with this path of wisdom. And so they don't favor gain or oppose loss. They don't favor fame or oppose disgrace. They don't favor praise or oppose blame. They don't favor pleasure or oppose pain. Having given up favoring and opposing, they are freed from rebirth because this contemplation directly pays the path to the Noble Eightfold Path. So they are in the right path. And they are the noble disciples who are freed from old age, rebirth, old age, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and distress in life. Parimuchyati dukkhasmati vadami. They are freed from suffering, I say. Right? Buddha explained about the ending of suffering in terms of developing wisdom with the 8 worldly conditions of life. And Buddha has concluded the discourse with these beautiful verses. Gain and loss, fame. Okay, can everybody read together? Gain and loss, fame and disgrace, blame and praise and pleasure and pain. These qualities among mankind are impermanent, transient, and perishable. An intelligent and mindful person knows these things, seeing that they are perishable, desirable things don't disturb their mind, nor are they repelled by undesirable, both favoring and opposing are cleared and disappeared. They are no more. Knowing the stainless, sorrowless state, they who have gone beyond rebirth understand rightly. That is why the great arahants are called the fortunate beings who are not troubled by Dutiyalokadhamma, by the ups and downs of life. They are sorrowless, stainless, and they are freed from all suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so that's the beautiful sutta, amazing sutta, with full of wisdom of the enlightened one. Dutiyalokadhamma Sutta from the book of the Eights of Anguttara Nikaya. We are very fortunate to learn these words, aren't we? Okay, so let's do the merit sharing. We collect lots of merit this evening by going for refuge to the triple gem, observing precepts, practicing meditation, reading the words of the Buddha, studying this amazing discourse of the Buddha, and helping each other in many ways. We share all the merit with our teacher, Lokaswami Vahanse. Sadhu. We share all the merit with monks and nuns in this world. Sadhu. Share all the merit with our parents, teachers, family members, friends, relatives, and with all beings in this world. May all beings enjoy good health, long life, happiness, and peace.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
We
Our
share all the
sadhu,
merit with heavenly beings. May all the devas rejoice in this merit. Sadhu.
sadhu. Our sadhu Bhante. Many merit for beautiful sutta. Allow us to share merit with Bhante, worship Bhante, and ask for forgiveness. Okasa Wandani Bhante.
Okay.
Maya katang punyang samina anumoditabbang.
Sadhu Anumodam.
Samina katang punyang maihang datam.
Sadhu Anumodata.
Sadhu sadhu anumodami. Okasa dwarattena katang sabbang ajyan kamatami Bhante.
Welcome.
Okasa kamami Bhante, Dutiyampi okasa kamami Bhante, Tatiyampi okasa kamami Bhante.
Vivadana Sivisam Chandra Pachayana. Chataru Dhamma Vandanti Ayuvano Sukam Balam Arogya Sampatti Sangha Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samijjatu.
So, thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
Very merit. Terasana Bhante. Namo.
Thank you for teaching us the
Yeah.
Dhamma Bhante. Be healthy, happy, safe, peaceful, and well. Namo Buddhaya. Tirvan Satnai.